Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. I know most people probably catch this on the replay, so thank you for taking the time to watch it if you do. Just doing quick stream, showing off the last of my C3 pickups that came in the mail in the last few weeks, as well as my local pull list from my LCS for maybe the last 2 months because I haven't really had a chance to get out there, and just a few other little bits and pieces that I've picked up along the way from other events and shops, things like that. So we will start off with the first item that came, which was a slab that I got from Brian LCS, who is a fellow YouTuber and the current organizer of the CBC Awards. And this was part of his channel's contribute to the C3 fundraising. He sent me a letter and obviously another Brian LCS sticker. So really cool stickers. And just a quick note, thank you for contributing towards it and letting me know what the total was at the time that the donation was made. So they ended up breaking their goal by I think nearly double this year and getting a lot of YouTubers involved doing some weird things like shaving eyebrows and tattoos if it actually got done. I'm not too sure. But the book I did pick up from Brian was a slab. It's Doctor Strange 381, Loki cover appearance, Thor and Scarlet Witch appearance, and it's a signed CBCS slab from Donny Cates. Let's see if I put the light back on, if it helps. Let's change the light. So it's a pretty cool Loki cover and signed by Donny Cates. So I don't have too many modern slab books. So when this one come up, I figured I'd give it a go. So grab this. So we'll leave the last package to come from C3 for later. So next we'll go through my weekly hauls from Big City Comics, which is my LCS. As I said, been about 2 months since I've been there. So there's a fair amount of books. You can see got all the preview books. We got 3 preview books from Marvel and 3 preview books from DC to show how far behind I am, and I haven't had a chance to look through them yet. We have the Amazing Spider-Man Disney 100-year variant covers. I'm picking up 3 copies of each of these as I'm saving a whole set for my nieces as their introduction into comics. So no need to show all 3 covers. We have Ghost Rider #1 versus the Hoods. So I've been hearing some interesting stuff about this, so hopefully get on to reading it soon. Nightwing, fallen off a bit on Nightwing, so I'm a little bit far behind. So hopefully I get back to it eventually. Next up, X-Men and Contest of Chaos. So see what happens in this. Next up, another Nightwing. These covers lately on Nightwing have been very interesting and different. So another unique cover. They may tie into the story, but as I said, a bit far behind, so not exactly sure what's happening. Ghost Rider number 20. So the covers on the Ghost Rider series lately have been really good. We have another Nightwing book, as I said, weird cover. The Marvel Superhero Secret Wars Disney 100 anniversary variant cover. This is pretty cool. Big fan of all Secret War books, so these are cool. Not even sure who does this cover. Inkus colorist, editor, editor-in-chief, Spider-Man creator, cover artist, Ed McGuinness. Okay. So there's again 3 copies. We don't need to show all 3 of those. Titans Beast World number 1. So interested to get into reading this again. So fan of Titans, and it looks very interesting. And a book that I missed out on because I was a bit slack in putting it in my pre-order list, but I was lucky enough that Mark still had some. And we got Transformers number 1 first printing. Gonna give this a read. Hopefully it's pretty good. I've been hearing good things about it still. I'll just put these away. So that's bag 1 out of the 2 bags that I picked up from Mark. So we'll get to bag 2. Okay. We'll start off with bag 2. We have Static number 7, which so start off. We have Green Arrow number 6. We have Static number 7, which I think is the final. Yep, the final book in the run. So might actually get to start and finish that in one sitting. Ghost Rider number 19. Very different take on Ghost Rider's bike there. We have Dawn of DC Shazam number 5. X-Men number 28. Dawn of DC Titans. I think I've got the whole run of Titans being picked up in this pickup. So we got number 5. Number 3. If number 3 is there, I'm assuming number 4 is in here somewhere to show how far behind I am. we have number 4. We have Blade number 5. Green Arrow number 4. So, okay. Pretty much last few books, everything is all the same sort of run. So we have Blade number 2 with an interesting cover. Static number 6. Shazam number 4. One of the only independent books that I'm picking up. We have Masquerade. So have number 8. Green Arrow number 5. I'm really digging this cover. All the all the different iterations of Green Arrow through the years. So looks pretty cool. An interesting Cyclops X-Men cover. X-Men. Back in the original, in the vintage blue and yellow suits. And we have Blade number 4. So my books from the LCS. I'm a bit behind, as you can see. So I try to get into a routine of getting down to see Mark a bit more regularly, but work gets in the way sometimes, so don't always get there as often as I would like to. Put them on the floor. So, alright, about a week ago, I went to a comedy show in Melbourne of Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy. So I wanted to pick up something from the show, but there wasn't overly a lot to choose from that I would actually use. So the one thing I did pick up was a special edition number 13 Gabriel Iglesias pop. So pretty cool. He's, I think, one of the only comedians that really has his own pop line, and he's up to number 13. So it was from the Australian leg of his tour. So picked up that. We'll get into the package. My last bit of C3 pickups. So I was able to pick up some stuff from Thurs. So he had a group of books that he was auctioning off, and I was lucky enough to get it. So it's a mix of some newer stuff, some older stuff, and some exclusive things. So pre-open the package just so it wouldn't take me forever to get it open on the stream. So but let's see what I got in here. I know the main reason I was bidding on it was for one of the older books that was in there. We'll start off with a graphic novel. It's Simpsons Comics Barn Burner. So, not a big Simpsons guy, but always interesting to see that 30 plus years later, Simpsons are still going and they're still making books. Next up, we have a Red Hood. I think this is a print, not a book, and it is signed by, I'm assuming, the artist, who I'm not too sure is, but it is a numbered piece at 164 out of 1500. Pretty cool print. Next up, this is the main book that I was bidding on in this lot. So it is a Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 10. So Silver Age, I'm guessing, maybe Copper Age Marvel book. And for a book its age, in very good condition. Okay. So this next book is another signed book. On the back we have a certificate saying Collector's Choice Comics has issued this certificate. Dustin Nguyen, signature on the 23rd of the 7th, 23rd. Signature. And it is a Night Terrors Zatanna book with a signature. So don't know if the signature just got smudged a little bit by accident, or if that is intentional signature done by the artist or the writer. So cool Night Terrors book. Next up we have a Venom #1 variant edition with pretty cool cover. The few Venoms there on the cover. Okay. Next up we have a Web of Carnage #1 variant edition. So some more Spider-Man books. So pretty awesome cover. And last up, we have another oldish book. I'm pretty sure this book is a minor key, has some significance, not 100% sure, but we have The Amazing Spider-Man 147 with Tarantula on the cover. Pretty cool vintage cover there. Amazing Spider-Man in that era had some great art on the covers. So I thank those very much for sending these books out, as I know it wasn't cheap to send from the States all the way to Australia. And he was gracious enough to send them, even though he originally wanted it to be an American only thing. So thank you very much for that. Okay. So the last thing I had to show, this week I had some spare time during the week and I was on the other side. Hey, Captain Sarah. I was on the other side of town and had a chance to go down to Aaron's Collectibles in Blackburn. You may have seen Simon, Simple Simon, has been down there a few times. It's because of him that it clicked in me head to go down and have a look. So I went down there Very interesting shop, very close to your work. Yeah, it was on Wednesday, Sarah, so you were at Mark's. I was gonna message you and Simon, but I figured he'd be on the other side of town. Gentleman who runs the store is a very nice man. Very how to say it, but very knowledgeable about vintage toys and the stuff he had in the shop. He has a very wide range and selection in the store for a store its size. You can get lost in the shop for hours just trying to walk around and look at everything and see things that are hidden behind other things. So it was a quick stop for me, so I only picked up a few things. But we have first up, so a DC Comics 75-year celebration. Get this price off because no one needs to see the price. Celebration, I'm guessing remake of the Mego figures. So this was a reproduction in 2009, but Green Arrow figure. It's not easy finding Green Arrow anything around most times. So when I do find something, try to grab it. Obviously, you have Superman, Lex Luthor, Green Lantern, Sinestro in the line as well. So picked up Green Arrow figure. I've been on a X-Men hunt of late and been picking up as many vintage and retro figures and stuff that I can find of the X-Men. And one of the first things I seen when I went into the store was some vintage Marvel Toy Biz X-Men figures from the early 90s. I already had some of these in my collection, but when I seen these sitting there, I had to grab them to go with the collection. Cards aren't in the best of condition, but for figures their age to still be on card with the superhero cards inside is always good. So first up, we have X-Men Cyclops figure. So this says that it has laser light eyes. Not sure if they'd still work after all this time, but have Cyclops. And on the back, old school showing of the figures and the stuff that came out around then. So in the original run, you had Wolverine, Storm, Archangel, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and Colossus. And then you had Juggernaut, Apocalypse, and Magneto in the Evil Mutants. And there's some vehicles and the Danger Room. So we have Cyclops there. Was also able to pick up Storm. So this one, same thing, but bit more worn than Cyclops. But you have Storm, and in behind her you have Nightcrawler card, and on the original card still. So when this was a $13 figure from Toy World back in the day. Still has the original original sticker. So this is another one in the same series. We have Archangel. So pretty cool figure to find intact with white wings and no damage, and has missiles that you can launch on his wings there. So I have 4 out of the original run now because I already had Wolverine. So hopefully I can find the other characters eventually. So mainly trying to find the vintage, well, not so vintage, but the first release of Marvel Legends X-Men characters, obviously, so I can display with the Hasbro Sentinel that I picked up recently. So I'm on the lookout for any of those original Marvel Legends. If anyone knows of anywhere that still has some vintage sellers that might have them, or if you see them, let me know. So that is all the pickups I have to show. So if you're talking Marvel Legends, Todd, the only real ones that I am chasing is the X-Men. It's not another line that I want to be getting into. So I got too many lines that I haven't finished to be starting new ones. So for now, mainly X-Men, Marvel Legends, and even at that, I don't think I'll be able to find all of the ones that have been released too easily. So I might just have to stick to the main characters if I can find them. Yeah, I know. I've been looking for the X-Men 97 figures, but I cannot find anyone that has them all. I've seen 1 or 2 out of, I think, the 7 getting released. So I'm not sure what's happening here in Oz, who's actually going to get them and when. So hopefully I'm going to Oz Comic Con on the weekend, and I'm hoping that maybe one of the sellers might have them. I haven't looked at eBay prices yet, Todd, so I can only imagine how crazy they're going to be, and if we'll actually even get the whole set here in Melbourne, considering none of the big places seem to have any of them at the moment. I seen one at EB Games. I think I seen a Magneto. So you didn't know that Oz Comic Con Christmas edition was on, Todd? You're normally the one that tells me things are on. I would have thought you knew. So yeah, Oz Comic Con's Xmas edition is on this weekend, and not a lot of guests and a lot of stalls, so it's not going to be a very big show. How you going, Freaky Louie? Maybe in the States they do. The one here can be a little hit and miss at Christmas time. So as I was just about to say, from the list that I can see, there's only one comic shop coming to the show. So it is one of the better sellers, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes and what they actually bring down because they're traveling from interstate. So we'll be able to see what Pennies brings down. So are you going to try and get there, Todd? Or are you busy all weekend? Come on, give me a Krampus. Not exactly sure what a Krampus is, Freaky. So, as I was saying, not overly big con, so I don't know how long I'm gonna end up being there. Trying to get a commission. Evil German Santa. Okay. There'll probably be some of them cosplaying there. If I do come across some, I'll take some photos for you, Freaky. As I was saying, don't think there's going to be too many stalls to be looking at. Going to be getting a commission for a friend on his blank book. So he's getting close to finishing it with local artists and international artists. So hopefully I get that done when I'm there and pick up some books, maybe some X-Men figures if I find them there, Todd. And then that'll be the last show for the year and hopefully start focusing on 2024 and getting ready for Nova in April, which is the big show we have. Well, 9 out of 10, I'll be making my way there on Sunday, Todd. So if you're going to shoot down, message me and I'll meet you there. I'm taking my nephew. I'm going to say probably for the first time he's been to one of these full-on types of shows. He's been to a few smaller events around Melbourne, but never any of the big ones that I know of. So I have my nephew with me. Hopefully he enjoys himself and has fun on the day while we're there. Supernova for April has already started releasing guests. They normally always do around Christmas time. So the guest list is looking pretty good already for an April show. Hopefully the guests they've announced stay on the list till the actual show comes out and don't cancel. But we'll have Mike Zeck coming down. So which is a big pull because I can't remember the last time that he came down here for a show. So it'd be great to meet him, get some of Secret War books signed. Then they have some big Star Wars guests in Giancarlo Esposito coming, and someone from The Boys, one of the female actors from The Boys, someone from Doctor Who. I'm not sure exactly who it is because I don't really watch those shows. So guest list is looking good for an April show so far. So hopefully stays on track. Thanks very much, dude. I'm sure you can just not go to sleep, be there when the door opens, and then go home and sleep afterwards, dude. It's Sunday. Okay, free. I've never actually met Mike. I've heard good things about him, so it's good that you're saying he's awesome. It'll be interesting to meet him. Um, I've gotten a few books pre-signed from him from the States, so it'd be great to actually take something in person, meet him, and get him to sign it. So I'm hoping that he doesn't pull out last minute. We've been pretty lucky with artists and writers not pulling out. It's mainly just actors who get announced really early that end up pulling out last minute. So hopefully it doesn't happen. And now that the strikes are over, there's probably a bit more freedom for them. He loves the fans. Okay. That is really good to hear. Do you know if he charges for signatures, Freaky? Or is he signed a few for free and then start paying person? So I know he's a big on the Secret Wars books. I haven't really done much research. Usually first 5 are free. That's good. I know he's done a few other big key stories that I have to look into, but I'm not 100% sure. The main thing I know him for is Secret Wars, and I heard that he did, I think, a Spider-Man run. He did some parts of Spider-Man run, which I have to have a look into and see what other stuff he's done. So be, like I said, interesting to meet him, especially with Secret Wars. It's one of my favorite storylines and books. So I think I'm gonna be way past the first 5 signatures being free. So get the whole run signed. So um he doesn't charge for selfies either. That's surprising. Well, not surprising. How can I say? Most artists here are normally pretty good and writers with selfies and even signatures. I don't think anyone who ever comes to the Australian shows has really charged a great amount for signatures. Um, the only time I've actually paid a high amount for an artist signature was in Canada this year at Fan Expo, and the most I've ever paid was for Frank Miller, which was 100 Canadian for a signature on whatever he was signing. Um, it was good the fact that he didn't charge different prices for obviously his bigger books, which he could have, like some of the other artists did, who were charging cheap prices for their signature on normal books, and any of their bigger books were charging 2, 3, 4, 5 times the amount for a signature just because it was a key book. I understand that people try and make money off them, but then the people who are actually there to meet them and fans and have the books get ripped off for a signature for a book just because it has some significance to it. So, who's the biggest artist you've met, Freaky Louis? I would assume you've met probably all the big names in the industry, being at the shows in the States. Uh, Stan the Man. I was lucky enough to meet him once just before he passed away in 2017, and I got a whole bunch of stuff signed from him at that stage. Hey, Grey Man, how are ya? The link, if any of you would like to join in, is pinned to the top. So if you want to jump in, Grey or Freaky, Todd, just click on the link. Yeah, I can imagine meeting Stan in the States would have been a lot easier and a lot more common than it was here in the time. No stress, Grey. In the time that I've been collecting, so it's only been the last 8 to 10 years, Stan had only been to Melbourne twice. Oh, been to Melbourne once, sorry, and Australia 3 times. The first time he was in Melbourne, uh, they didn't anticipate how many people would actually show up for him, and the line was just crazy. Me and mate lined up. We were there for I think 3 or 4 hours lined up. Got to the front of the line to get in the line to buy tickets to meet him, and it got cut off. And they said they weren't selling any more tickets, so I didn't get him to meet him the first time. Second time, ended up coming down to Sydney, which is a 10-hour drive or about a 2-hour flight from Melbourne. And it just happened to be on a weekend that I couldn't make the trip down to Sydney to go meet him, and ended up waiting another, I think, 6, 7 years before he came down again and was able to meet him in Adelaide, which was pretty awesome. And got a whole bunch of stuff signed, which I've shown before on the channel. So it was a very, very great experience getting to meet him when we did. And he still had his wits about him. So he was still telling stories and was very funny, which was made the experience just so much better. So um okay, well, just show one last thing that I picked up a few weeks ago. I showed quickly, but didn't go into that much showing. Let's put the light back on, see if it helps. So we have, not wrong way, Marvel trading cards. So obviously classic battles in the Marvel universe. So Wolverine, Spider-Man, Carnage and Spider-Man. Some pretty cool cards. We have some more Marvel battles. And then we get into the classic cards. Probably one of the best sets that they ever did release. Cool. The link is pinned to the top. So we have the Flair X-Men, not X-Men, Flair X-Men 94 series, which the glare is not the best, but these are one of my favorite sets of cards and one of the first sets that got me into collecting cards all the way back then. So have some more. The art on these cards was awesome, especially for the time frame they came out. They matched the comic books so greatly. Okay, now this goes into a different set. So this was the Marvel 93 set. So you can tell the difference. One second.
Hey,
How you going?
awesome, mate. So glad I can catch you. You know, I'm usually awake at this time. This is 6 a.m. in Florida, so the central, Eastern time. Yeah.
Jeez. You're
Yeah,
up at 6 a.m.
I am. I love it. You know, it's my only time. I got kids, so they're asleep while I'm awake. So this is my only me time. But buddy, I got a lot of pictures from a lot of people. So I picked a bunch of my favorites for you to show
Okay.
off here because Mike Zeck was my first one. That's the first guy I met and took a picture with my
Okay.
cosplay too. Yeah.
All right. So I'm guessing that was years ago.
Years. I was like one of my first cons. So gosh, probably 9 years ago, maybe. And it's
All
with John Biotti too.
right. I'm
And that's
making
me in my symbiote suit.
that's
Now, what I
awesome.
did, yeah, buddy, I did the Secret Wars cover, and then I also did the inside panel where he turns to he gets a symbiote. So I stand there just like he is, and Mike Zeck came around. He's like, "This should be the future of cosplay." I'm like, "Yeah, baby." And this was, gosh, I think 2018, maybe 20. What was 9 years ago? I don't know. Whatever 9 years ago was.
2014.
Yeah, buddy. So just
So
man,
that's literally around the time that I started collecting and getting into
that's
all of
awesome.
the
That was like the first time I started getting books signed and going, I was like, I can get my book signed at cons. You know, I was like, what am I doing? Gray
well,
man, what's up, my brother? And I
I
met so
didn't
many
get
other people,
I
buddy.
didn't get my first comic, like actual comic collecting till 2017.
Oh wow. So I did
So
start in the 90s, like kind of when they were $2. And that was only Spidey. And that was because of the Amazing Spidey cartoon. But you know who this guy is, right?
yeah, Frank
Yes,
Miller.
sir. Now
Yeah,
him, I met him on the first Comic-Con cruise, baby.
Comic-Con cruise.
Yes, it was the best thing of all time, and he was in there, and they even made the casino like a uh what's that? Dang it, what's his book? Not the man. They had the movie too by Robert
Sin
Rodriguez,
City.
Sin City. They made it all like Sin City in the casino. It was so freaking cool, and he loved it. He's like, man, and this is actually his cover of when Peter Parker's in jail, and I even made little things like I'm behind the bars there, stretchable things, and yeah, I
I was
love it.
lucky
Love it.
enough to meet him this year.
Yes,
He
dude. That's so
he he
awesome.
he looks his age now.
Oh
Like
my gosh. Well,
he,
he's always been so like, because that's his drawing body, you know. I'm like, dude, please see a chiropractor or something. It breaks your
yeah,
heart to see him. goodness,
it
but he's
seemed
still.
like he was not so
He's
much struggling, but you knew he was uncomfortable, and
Yeah,
just and
man. Yeah. Oh my
the amount
gosh.
of people there to meet him was crazy.
Yeah. I even asked him a dumb question. And I was like, I always do that. Every time I have an opportunity, I just say the stupidest thing. Like, why did I even talk? But
Wow.
I asked him
I
if he did the Daredevil show. It's like, do you not like the Elektra in the Daredevil show? I heard you didn't like that. Like they ruined your character. And he's like, I don't even watch that show. I'm like, oh crap. And then here's me and Dan Slott. Dan Slott's my favorite writer ever. And that's in my Superior Spidey suit, which my friend, he made those mechanical legs that actually move. That's like,
okay.
yeah, dude.
So
And Dan's like my
you go
He's my
all out
favorite dude,
cosplay.
guy. Yes, this is the first time I met him, and he was so great. I got a Twitter because of him. He's like, you got to get on Twitter so I can send you these pictures. I'm like, all right. And then I found out about his personality. I'm like, oh, that's why everybody hates you on here. And then I
I've
got,
never
dude,
met him.
of course, this is my first Stan Lee one in my Future Foundation suit, and I made the backdrop of the when he was part of the Future Foundation. And they every time I saw Stan Lee, they say, "This is the last time you can see him." I saw him 3 times. They kept saying, "It's the last time, guys." They got us good. Oh, I meant to grab the other one. I have one with my daughter. The last one I took with him was with my daughter, and she was in a Spider Girl suit. And I was like, "This is legit, bro!" And it was so cool. But this is with me and my friend as Deadpool. He even made a dog pool puppet that he can actually move and stuff. And my shield has a little Ant-Man on there. I put on my cosplay. Yeah, get in there, little
So
guy.
do you take the backdrops with you?
I do. They fold up so I can carry them pretty easily. And it's amazing how I can make the 3D little fire pop out on there. Like it's crazy. I just created it. I'm the only one. Well, I've seen other people do it, but I'm the only one that does it badass, baby. And almost every picture I take is like that. And my newest one was this year. And this was one of my bucket one list. Now I have a bunch. I left a bunch behind. I met freaking Clark from Smallville, you know? But this one was somebody I never thought I would see. And sure enough, he came to Tampa, right where I live, baby. Grant Gustin.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
baby.
I've actor wise, I've met a fair amount of people. Like I've met Clark from Smallville, and I've met
Yeah.
Lex.
Oh, I love
I've
it.
I've met like maybe 13 people from the Arrow series, and
Awesome.
but Grant is the one that hasn't quite come yet.
Dude, you know, his season was ending this year. That's when he came right around that time. And he was so fun and happy. It was amazing. I can't believe they pulled it off. It was a lot of people. He only came one day on Friday, and that was like the biggest day. It was insane. And they made it work. It's beautiful. I think a couple of Cisco and Candace were there too. Not Candace, Snow, Caitlin Snow was there.
Okay.
I already had them. I already had Caitlin. I already had Cisco. He was my first one, and I have Wells. So I had all four now. I got Team Flash. I got pictures of all of them.
Well,
That's what I love doing.
surprisingly, we get Arrow guys. Like I've gotten Diggle, Stephen Amell,
Awesome.
the whole John Barrowman, all of them. But Flash actors, we only get like the villains and the B
Yeah,
cast people.
yeah.
We haven't got any of the main cast yet.
Oh, buddy. Hopefully, man. Because I think, like you said, everything's kind of getting back to normal. And when Flash came to Tampa, that was right at the strike time. So they were like being mad at him because he came despite the strike or whatever. He's like, I'm making money, baby. I was like, I'll be all right.
Well,
But yeah, it's crazy time.
I had booked to go to Fan Expo from like June, and then they went on strike, and everyone kept saying all the actors are pulling out and all of this. So I thought the show was going to be crap because everyone was going to pull out.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, only 2 people pulled out in the last week, and the main list pretty much stayed the same for the whole show.
Well, you know, I think MegaCon here does the same thing where they announce a giant star in the beginning once all the tickets are bought, and then like last second that giant star cancels.
Yeah.
And then you already paid the photo op money, and it's like, well, if you give it back, you're going to lose money, or you can trade it. And that's what happened to me. I had to trade pictures this year because somebody canceled, but I was able to get Stargirl and take a picture with her. And I took it as shade. So like, this is great. It was like a last minute thing. I even made a little staff for her. I meant to grab that picture too, but I made a staff for her to hold and she loved it. So I love cons. I love meeting people. The artists are even more happier that you're there, especially Mike Zeck. Mike Zeck loves the fans, man. Always in a good mood. I swear he gives everything away. I also met the writer, what's his name? He's a good Jim Shooter. Jim Shooter was even better. Like he didn't charge for anything. He's like, they already paid me, guys. You're good. I'll sign whatever and I'll take pictures, whatever. And he's a great guy. I
Well,
have nothing but good luck.
you got very lucky because I met Jim Shooter in Canada this year, and
Awesome.
he was charging, but
Oh,
I
buddy.
I don't mind if they charge, but charging stupid prices is one thing, and he was charging $30 for signature.
Zoinks.
So
Thanks, Scrooge.
for me, especially considering the chances of him coming down to Australia are slim,
Yeah.
to pay $30 to meet him, it won't worry me.
Yeah.
But he was awesome to chat to.
It really is. He's such a cool guy. Like they all are just so happy that we still like what they do, and they are always taking questions. Like I love sitting in the conferences when they talk and stuff. I love all the stories. Dang, I thought I grabbed the other one too. I meant to grab Batman, bro. I met Kevin Conroy, and that was amazing. I actually forgot my phone in the car to take the picture to selfie. He used his phone and texted me the picture. I had Batman's number for years. I was so tempted to reach out. I never did. My boy, my best mate Lee is in the chat, baby. Yeah.
How you going, Lee? I know that I don't know if it's the organizers here in Australia. They make it out like the artists are a pain. But I've met that many different ones, and I've met some in America. I've met some in Canada. I think it's the organizers that make them seem one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
There is the odd few who are up themselves.
Yeah.
But the rest, they just happy to be there, happy to interact with fans.
Yeah. So I used to get so many books signed too. I used to love that. Just like meeting all of them. And I felt bad when they didn't charge for signature. So I always bought a print. It's like, let me buy something from you, you know? But then that added up. When you saw like 10 people, it's like, oh gosh, that's $200 I spent on just prints. So I think I had to come back.
If you're spending $200 on prints and getting hundreds of dollars worth of free signatures.
It's kind of what it was, because back then they used to do 3 or 5 free, and I swear most of them did that here. So they must have got paid well, or they just wanted traffic, because I think when it first, because Comic-Cons weren't as popular, I don't think 20 years ago. Like I used to go to them and I kind of just went to see it was like a flea market almost, like, oh, comics are 50% off, or 50-cent comics. But now I think it was the Big Bang Theory show what kind of made it pop. Like everyone wanted to go, like this is fun for everyone, the whole family. And it's great. That's what I got into cosplay, because as I left the con, I saw a Ghostbuster family leaving. And I'm like, that is magical. Like, that's what I want. I want a family now. And I want to make them all dress up. And that is what inspired my cosplay. My first cosplay actually was the Batman family with my wife and my daughter. And that was the best thing. We had so much fun. We even got on the paper. Like, we were so popular. There was an article on us. And ever since then, I just never stopped. I love cosplay. I started making my backdrops because I hated standing there. Like I had a Spidey suit and it's a skin tight. I'm basically naked. So I was like, this is so strange standing naked around strangers. So like, let me make a backdrop so I can just pose as a statue and do that, which I love. Posing a statue is so much fun, man. I scare so many people. It's the best.
I can imagine.
Yeah, especially kids, because they always think it's like a statue. And when I move or I say, hey, they like, oh my God.
The cons don't give you problems taking the backdrops in?
Never. They are so helpful. Like, especially MegaCon is a class act. They actually, no, I'm sorry. That's wrong. Tampa Bay Comic-Con is much nicer. MegaCon can be mean sometimes. But Tampa Bay Comic-Con, they are all about the fans. They love the cosplay because they know that people come to see the cosplay also. Now, the sellers don't like it because they think we take away from it a little bit. But the cosplayers are also buying stuff. Like, we're not just there. We're happy to get comics too and stuff, We're all the above. So yeah, man,
And
it's I always have a great time at cons, and I take so many pictures. I usually park somewhere and I take 100 pictures of people, and I love it.
alright. I
Yeah.
seen the cosplayers in the shows I've been to, like user on another level to what we get here. Especially
I seen the one that Lee's put up, and it's really, you guys got some great stuff too. Like there is some amazing. That's the best part. Everybody's got some cool things. They make it themselves, all year long. They're building this stuff.
our scene seems like in maybe the last 2 years is really starting to get those people putting in the crazy effort and making those
Yeah,
big cosplays, but the ones in America were just insane. Like I seen when I was there in 2017, I seen the guy full Iron Man suit, the
yes,
mask
yes,
opening and thing, blasters and the
yeah.
whole lot.
Awesome.
So, it's amazing how much effort people
Yes.
put in.
And they travel the country and win all these competitions, and it pays for their trips and stuff. So it's great. And sometimes they if they win too many times, they're not allowed to compete anymore. But then they become like participants. They start working there, and everything gets paid for them. So it's really really cool, especially that con that the cruise, the Comic-Con cruise is amazing. There were so many artists, so many people, and I ran out of money like the first day. I'm like, there's too many people here. I can't do all of this. And it was just amazing because for me as a cosplayer, I had a room to go back and change and shower and not be sweaty the whole time. And it was mostly the elderly because that's all the people are in the cruise. And they're like, this is amazing. They never seen anything like it. And they're like, I can't wait for my grandkids to see this picture of me and Spider-Man. So it was
Uh,
so great, dude. Heartwarming.
Is the cruise something that happens every year?
They're doing another one next year, and I think Comic Journey, or no, I think 2025, I want to say. And Comic Journey was talking about it because I want to say Lee's from Florida, and they're just so much fun. It's like the best way for us to do a con. Like we're all in there, and and then when you're in the elevators with with stars.
Yeah,
Sean Gunn, the brother that does like Rocket.
yeah,
So I was in
yeah.
an elevator with him. And he was so nervous because the girls were looking at us like, you're somebody, right? And he's like, no. I didn't want to admit it. And I knew.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. But that was great. It was really cool. And then also uh the guy Yondu was
Yeah,
on that ship.
Michael
He
Rooker.
was so drunk. He was drunk the whole time. He was they were judging a competition. He's like falling over the table. It was great. Yeah.
Well, in 2017, he was one of the big stars at the show I went to.
Awesome.
He was 3 hours late to his signing because the car got caught in traffic. So he got out of the car to walk and
What?
got lost in Philly.
Oh crap.
So yeah, ended up being 3 hours late to
Oh
the
my
show. So, and he come and he was apologizing to everyone, walking through the line, shaking people's hands and saying sorry because he was 3 hours late. It
awesome.
was hectic.
Yeah.
So,
That happened.
hey,
That
sorry.
happened to me the first time I met Stan Lee. Stan Lee was 3 hours late the first time I met him because of traffic. So he was stuck. He couldn't get in. And I was a VIP. I paid all the way. And we were there for like 6 hours just waiting in this room because nobody wanted to leave. Like, if you move, you're going to lose your place in line. It was like, oh, crap. So we were there 6 hours just parked in this hot room. And they were doing a bunch of giveaways to make sure everybody was happy. And they even gave away a lunch with Stan Lee. And Stan Lee, you can tell he was a little frazzled because he was like so late, but he still did everything like a boss. And when he walked in, it's like God comes into the room. And when he starts talking, I was like, this is the most amazing energy I ever felt in my life. And I got to talk
Yeah,
to him every time I saw him. I got to talk to him because like the first time I said, you're the man, Stan, or something like that. And he said, thanks. And he looked up at me and I had my Future Foundation on me. He's like, oh, yeah. And later on, I had the picture with him. And then the second time I said, thanks for doing this book, because the book I got signed was the drug issue without the approved by the comics code. I had
yeah,
that one. I was like, thanks for making this book, even though it wasn't approved. And he's like, you got it. I was like, oh, wow. And then the third time is when I did a picture with him with my friend with this one. And we walk in with this, like, what's this contraction over here? And I was like, this is the best life ever. Like, I love this guy. So I'm so lucky, man. Like, I really am. Everything. My whole life I've been lucky, but goodness, to meet the heroes. I always say, meet your heroes. They won't disappoint. Maybe 1 out of 100 will, but man, I regret I could have met the Green Ranger last year, and that still breaks my heart. Still breaks my heart because I love him. I didn't meet the Pink Ranger though. I had to get that. Sorry, baby. that's a crush from the 8th grade, man. My goodness.
Of course.
I'm very lucky to take a picture with her. Oof.
With Stan Lee, I missed him like 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
I missed him, and then 2017 when he came, I did the same thing, the full VIP, everything. But the one good thing that was about him when he did get there, they made sure that they told everyone, don't be pushy, don't be thing. He's going to stay here until he signs everything. Even if it takes, like, they might give him breaks every hour or so, but he said no one is going to miss out on their signature.
I love it, dude. Love him.
And then he did a chat for like an hour, and the stories that he was saying and the stuff that he comes up with on the spot.
Yeah, boy.
It makes you understand why everyone loves him so much.
He created Spider-Man when he was 40. So think about the 58 years after that.
That's
what a freaking life, my man. Love it. Love it. Wow. Especially like the last 15 is when he really popped. His last 15 years, he was really popping.
I think he just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
So whatever was on his mind, he'd say. And he was happy about it. Everyone loved him for it.
Yes.
So,
there was one cameo I really wanted from him. I would have loved a cameo of him in his bed with his wife. And he wakes up and he's like, I had this weird dream. And it's all the Marvel universe. That's what I wanted. Just that one cameo. And especially with his wife. I would have loved that.
I heard that they had the rights for his cameos for like the next 10 movies. But the last stuff that's come out, nothing's had a cameo.
Yeah. No, that's why they all blow. It's like you lose Stan, you lose the movie, bro. That's why I like the Venom movie. Like Stan Lee was in it. What's the problem? He's like, good luck, the both of you. Like that was one of his last live cameos.
Yeah, I think they're overthinking everything now with these movies and stuff. They're not letting the movies be a movie.
Yeah,
worried about so many other things, and it's just killing everything.
Yeah, and it's such an easy. I mean, it's so easy. Just do what you did. Rinse and repeat.
There's nothing special to it. Just good, basic, simple movies. You don't need to be doing any fancy shit, any over the board. But I think Marvel, well, not Marvel, let's say Disney, is slowly losing the plot at the moment.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll gain back. Like that pendulum's got to swing back, brother. I like their stuff if they do it right. I honestly, the Disney Plus shows hasn't really bugged me. I actually enjoy them, and I think each of them has their own thing to it. Because I saw the Marvels, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the Marvels. I think Carol was the best in this one. Like compare this one to the first one, way better. And I do like the girls, the Kamala and Rambeau, because I like them in WandaVision. I like the Kamala show. I loved her parents. Like her parents, I don't know why. I love them to death. And I don't think they get written well in the Marvels movie. But there were so many cool things that happened. Like we got Beast, man. It was an X-Men looking Beast from the cartoon looking, and it was your boy, like the grammar. Like that was perfect. Like just give me that. I'm good.
Too many people are hating on the Marvels for no reason. I don't think it's the best movie they've done, but it's not the worst either by far.
Exactly, bro. I know it's the most expensive. Yikes.
And there was also no like underlying crap in it. It was just a movie with 3 women about whatever it was. They weren't trying to promote something
No. You know,
or
Carol was not
anything.
only like she was pleasant, she looked amazing, dude. Like each of her costumes, I'm like, oh my God. Like she looks amazing. Like she looks like a superhero. Like that's a superhero body, basically. She's got it.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. I was like, and she's actually pleasant this time around. So I enjoyed it. I thought she was funny. I just loved how they all worked together. Um, there was something else that I liked that I forget now, but it's really the costuming I think was great. Now the singing planet, whatever, that got dredged out, but I like that her Disney dress comes on. Like that's
Yeah.
funny. Like give me a little something silly like that. I'm fine with it. But all in
They
all, I wasn't mad.
they gave her a backstory. Like
Yeah,
you connect with her a bit more because you
yeah,
know that she's been out in space for so long, why she was out in space for so long,
yeah.
and all of that. But they, I think everyone is just looking for the reason to not like something anymore.
Oh, totally. And it's so easy to because if you compare it to the movies from the 90s and 2000s that were like this, like you can really nitpick it too. But back then
Yeah,
we were so happy it just existed. Like, oh, we're just so happy it exists. Who cares? So now we're just like, I think, kind of spoiled in a sense. We're like, no, it's not what I imagined in my head it to be. Like
yeah.
The Flash movie, people hate. It's still like so under. It has the most cameos of any DC movie of all time,
I
and
still
nobody
haven't seen
going right. So it's too bad. It's too bad. I say. I think if the Flash came out when a Snyderverse came out, it would have been good timing. I think it would the momentum of his scene in the Snyderverse when he reverses time, and then putting that out would have been like, who cares? Just put it out there. Just do whatever. We're gonna do it anyways. And I think the momentum would have been better because it broke my heart, man. I love that Bruce Wayne, like that Batman, and I loved how he looked. He was so great. He did great. Like why hate? He did his part
it.
awesome.
I still haven't seen it, but
Oh, it's so
Keating,
awesome. It's
Keating is my Batman. So,
yes, same. And they do
and
justice.
that's why I'm sort of going back and forth on watching it. I want to
Well,
watch it
it's
because of
funny
Keating.
too. The thing is, he's actually very funny. The Flash kid, Ezra, he plays a really funny because he plays two versions of himself, a younger and an older. And he's actually the timing, a lot of good writing in this. Like whoever wrote it really knew what it's like the goofy DC, like how they do the kind of fantasy goofiness, and it works. So I really, the pace is good. I thought in that movie. People are picking on the effects. I think the worst, like, oh, horrible effects. I think for what they had, they did okay. Like, it's not what I would have pictured, but it wasn't horrible. And I think most people were surprised with the ending. And I honestly, the suits, everything was like really well done in a lot of different ways. And of course, it's all broken up, but I love Zara or Kal-El. Like, she did great. Kara, like she was awesome, even though her story was a little chunked up, whatever. She looked amazing. Like that one scene when she's pushing the guys the gun from shooting into Batman. It's so cool. So they did a lot of great things in it, and I don't think it should have got the hate. Of course, the other kid, he's like, ugh, he's never gonna work again.
Nah, I never liked him as the Flash. I couldn't see him being the sort of Flash that I would expect.
Mhm.
Like his personality and characteristics just didn't sit right for me. But I heard that he plays the Flash really well in the movie,
It does.
in this
Honestly,
movie.
he convinced me in that movie. Because I was the same way. I was like, he's kind of dumb. Like I don't like this version. Because I love Grant Gustin. I think they had time to build him a little bit. I love the '90s version. Like that was how I grew up as a kid,
Yeah,
man. Like I
John
was
Wesley.
third grade watching this. Like this is blowing my mind.
Yeah,
So I've always
so,
been a Flash fan, and I still like. I don't know. I like it, man. Like I'm never. I used to be mad because it was the stuff I wanted to happen didn't happen. Like, oh, I wanted this to happen. Then I realized, like, just go back to how I used to be before. If there was one thing I liked, I'm happy with the whole movie. Like, just give me one little nugget, and I'll be happy with everything. I love
I
continuity. Just give me that.
yeah, I don't care if they all connect. I just want the movie to be watchable. Like you got
Yes.
to enjoy the movie for what the movie is, not what it should be, what it connects to, and how it comes. It's a 2 hour movie or a 3 hour movie. You got to enjoy the movie for what it is. If it connects to something else and they do it well, it's good. If it doesn't, shit happens.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think the Guardians was like that because the pace is so fun. It didn't matter. Like you almost forgot what was happening because it was so fast. And I
Yeah,
like that. I'm like, good, fun, action, sad, laughing, sad. Let's go. I love it. Do me all the emotions. Just keep it rolling because it should be entertaining in some for everyone. It shouldn't be just for some people. It should be for everyone, which I know is not easy to do, but there is something, there is a method there. There is a way to please everyone. There
yeah.
is.
I think it's just having a good, simple story.
Yeah, come on,
Y-
man. People want to
Like
like let their brain not work and just enjoy.
that's right. You can make things tie into each other easily with one or two lines. You don't need to have the whole movie pushing a point of this is why this and this and this and this. Just keeps going. Just one simple line halfway through the movie, bringing up this, saying something to this, and it ties in and let the movie be what it is.
Yeah. I, for me, it's always like, what's your favorite scene or favorite line from that movie? And people can't think of one from the last 10 movies. Like, there's nothing that, like, really, like, wow, what a beautiful scene when they say this or when this thing happened. That just hasn't happened in a long time, like quotable things. Like, that's what I
Yeah.
love about 80s and 90s movies. I think we can quote everything perfectly from 40 years ago. And it's because we loved it. It's ingrained in us.
And movies back then made you want to watch them again.
Yeah,
Whereas
over and over. We burned those
the,
VHSs. They're melting.
since Endgame and even since Snyder Cut, none of the movies make you like you're desperate to go back
Mhm.
and rewatch the
Mm-mm.
movie.
No, because I see it in Disney Plus. Like, I don't want to. Like, 10-year-old me would have loved this, but now me does not even care. There's no emotion.
That's right. Nothing to drag you into it. That
No.
that's why as much as everyone loves the connectivity, I think there needs to be separate universes now, especially in Marvel. You start throwing the X-Men in with all the characters we already have, and it's just going to be a mess.
Yeah, I don't really see it. Sometimes I like it when it's ones that you don't assume they would come together when it's mixed match. Like, I kind of like that. It's something I wouldn't expect. But besides that, it is just like sprinkling him into what's going on. And like, you know how the Punisher and Daredevil on Netflix, like, give me that stuff, dude. Like, that should
Yeah,
be the adult section, and then you can have the kids section, and you can have the whatever else is left over
but
section.
you you can't have as many characters as you're trying to have all be in the one storyline. It's never going to work, and
Nah.
you're never going to make the fans happy because I'm an X-Men fan, so I rather see the X-Men done well and everything else can go wherever it goes. But there's no way the X-Men are going to get done well when you got all the Avengers, all the Guardians, and all of that competing in the one storyline.
Yeah, it's too much. It is, and it is. You got to give X-Men deserve because they are all. I think the X-Men are the best of the Marvel characters. They're like the deepest characters, most powerful, and they. I mean, they could rule the world if they wanted to, And I love they each and every one. That how do you not love Storm? Find one person who doesn't love Storm. Like, come on. So it has to be done right. Like X-Men is what's going to save the Marvel universe if you do it right. And
Yeah,
just like you said, keep it their universe. Just like give them maybe like the other ones. Maybe you can throw one in from the old people or whatever. One, you'll give you one, but the rest got to be X Men.
but I think that the X-Men, before they're interacting with anyone else, you need to build their universe.
Yeah,
They gotta have their universe. They gotta exist. They gotta be doing what they do. And then if Captain America or Iron Man or whoever you want to come across comes across, it makes sense. But to
yeah.
have now, we have Beast. It's in a different universe. But how does he interact with the rest of these characters?
Mhm.
They made a big fuss about the characters being different in the world and people not accepting them. How are they going to accept the blue man?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's it. It should be like how the first Captain America first Thor. It was like their world first before they met or whatever. Like give them their thing, and it should. It's almost like new because I love the old stuff. I love the old X-Men, Singer and Brian. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't hate any of the X-Men movies. Like, of course, I think they just go a little less, but I don't hate any of them. They're still entertaining in a way. But yeah, something fresh and yet depth because they're just all beautiful characters. They each got their own depthness to it, man. And I would love to see Wolverine and Captain America rescue a young Magneto from Auschwitz. I would love that. Like that's all I want. Give me that, and I'll shut up forever. So that's the kind of stuff I would like if they're gonna do it.
There's so much possibilities on, like you just said, how they can build, how these characters interact and build stories, but they never think to do something as simple as 40 years ago, Magneto doesn't know who Wolverine is, doesn't know who Captain America is, saves him, and he goes on his path.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Professor X. It can be something as simple as interacting with Tony Stark's dad, or
Yeah, boy.
somewhere along the line, and it triggers him on his path, and then you don't see him again for 30 years.
I love that. I love it, man. It's like Xavier made everybody forget about him, maybe. He was
Yeah.
able to do that, like just cast that across or just have enough to protect them where they're at, anyways. So yeah, man, there's so much to it. And do you think you would like McAvoy to come back? I heard that's a rumor.
I've heard that he is, and I've heard that Patrick Stewart's coming back. So
I would
I
like,
I'm happy either way. I think both of them played it well,
yeah,
but it also comes down to their plan. If they've got a 15, 20-year plan or a 10-year plan,
yeah,
you have to go McAvoy. If you got a short plan, then you can go the other way. But
yeah,
whatever plan you do, you got to stick to it. Not you plan it out, and because one thing goes wrong,
yep,
you start chopping and changing.
yeah,
Just stick your course, give the characters a chance to get through their stories,
yes,
and I think personally they have to cut down at least half the characters. You don't need that many X-Men to start the universe.
yeah.
Just, you got your 3 or 4 heroes, 1 or 2 villains, and I don't even think Magneto should be the main villain from the start.
No, no, I would love him to be like good or, just a kind of like victim, but doesn't want to be evil and kind of fighting
Yeah,
that. But yeah, man, there's a lot of, I agree too, because we don't need that many. And I don't know, dude, like who would you pick to be like the main?
I would go personally with the original team.
Nice, nice. That's
The
cool.
Xavier, Beast, Cyclops, Archangel if you
Yeah,
want, and Jean.
yeah. I know.
And
I'll
not
page
even
it if you
Iceman.
want.
Yeah, there's the original 6. You can pick your 4, or you can have all 6.
Mm,
But you can't go original team and then start chucking Wolverine in there and Jubilee and Rogue and all these characters.
yeah,
Start off with the original team, even if you're going to do it 40 years earlier than Thing, and just build. So, yes, we're the X-Men. These people could hide in plain sight. They were all normal looking people, all Thing, and then it evolved.
awesome.
From that, we get this, and then you get Wolverine, Juggernaut, all of those guys.
I love it, dude. Yeah, I would love them and Fantastic Four to be both set in the 60s when they're first created too. Because like that would be even more because even they're hiding because it's communist times, it's like so many things can be like intertwined in there. And I would love that, like the timepiece movie. Kind of like Captain America, the first one. Like
Yeah,
that would be great, awesome backstory. And you can see them kind of grow and that would be cool, man. And then the other students are gonna be the future X-Men, like maybe in 10 years you'll see them later or whatever kind of thing.
that
Uh,
that's right. Like what they started doing after First Class. You
yeah.
had the original team was a different lineup, but you had your main characters, and everyone else just had a little part in the story.
Yeah, baby.
But
Oh,
even the Fantastic Four, I don't know a lot about their stories, but if you're gonna do them justice, you can't do it in half a movie leading into another storyline. You got to have a movie explaining who they are, where they've been for however long they've been. If you're not doing a old style movie, so if they're showing up in current time, where have they been for the last 60 years?
Yes. Yeah.
And why didn't they get involved? Why didn't they do this? And when you think about it, the way they've built up like Captain Marvel and all these other characters, the Fantastic Four powers can't compete with all of these people.
Yeah.
The Fantastic Four will be a nothing
Yeah.
team.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
They,
they're
they,
family, and they should stick to the family thing too, because they're the first Marvel family. Like, stick to the basics. Just like go back to why it became awesome, and then you'll have the fans on board. You know, you'll make the people who don't know fall in love. It's like, this is why people love these characters. Make it a love story to Jack Kirby, like his style and his art, like that kind of pop art kind of style. Like, make it 60s, like cool. It's like, man, this is really groovy. Like, do something cool like that, man.
yeah, well, I think the first thing they have to do then is get rid of Pascal. I
Yeah.
think that's a
Oh yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Cartman said it himself.
Yeah. He just doesn't fit the profile or the role.
No,
And
she
I
had
know
her time. Yeah, she had her time, man. She did whatever, but now this is our world. We know what we're talking about.
yeah. So, but I think now it's Marvel. Well, Disney is all about the name and how much recognition the actors get,
Yeah.
than more about the characters being what we deserve and what we want.
Yes, 100%. Because we obviously shown that we'll back it up. We'll back it up with our money if it's done right. Like, you should.
Yeah,
Isn't money your whole thing? Don't you like the monies? Isn't that why you're doing movies? Don't
yeah,
teach
but
us things.
I think they're more worried about the quick money than long-term money.
Yeah.
So they're worried about how many people come in that first weekend, not how many people are going to keep coming to that movie if you make
Yep.
it well.
Boo, boo. When you have to give away your big reveal on a trailer, so people
Yeah,
can come, like, yeah, you already lost.
they I get the reshuffle at Disney through everything for crap, but you would think by now they sort of get themselves back on track.
No, no, they.
And it,
I hope. I heard there's been a lot of firing ever since the Elon thing. So people have been unsubscribing from Disney X and pretty much all the things that were trying to fight them. So Disney Plus is like losing even more than ever, like more than ever. So I think they're doing a bunch of stuff now where they're gonna try to turn around January, because they still got, they got the uh, Echo show, which I wasn't excited for, but now I'm excited for. Like, now I'm excited. I don't know why. 'Cause I didn't like her, but I kind of like what they're doing with the show. I had Daredevil and Kingpin. Like, I'm in. Let's go. So yeah, I
I
think
think
they have to turn it around, dude. They got to bring people
well,
back.
they've got no choice. They've
Yeah,
delayed they've
yeah,
delayed that many shows.
yeah.
I just heard today, I don't know if it's true, that Daredevil's pushed back to 2025 now.
Yeah, yeah. I think almost everything, because of the writer thing and because they don't like what was written before.
Yeah.
They're like, no, please no. These guys will burn our place down if you do this to them.
I'd rather have two things come out in a year and be good than have 10 things that are crap.
Yeah. It's too bad because Daredevil was the best of the shows. Like, those 3 seasons were so awesome. I couldn't believe how it got better and better. Like, how's it getting better every season? This doesn't happen with shows.
Because they let him be what he was.
Yeah,
He is a street fighting
that's it, boy.
people hero, just simple. And none of the villains he were fighting was crazy powerful.
Yeah.
Like Kingpin's a big strong man, but he's still a man.
Yep.
Punisher is a war hero, a maniac, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
him, but he's still a man.
Oh yeah. I
Like
I I loved him. I got to meet him before too. I had a
I
picture
met
of him. Yeah, he was great. And he's so tall. And I didn't know he was British. I'm like, what the heck? I thought you were American.
I got lucky that I met Charlie, John, and Vincent all this
Yes,
year.
dude. Yes.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
one
Well,
of the
sorry.
best things.
I'm sorry, buddy. I gotta get ready for work. I gotta wake up
No
my
sweat.
daughter. Get ready. I didn't realize it's almost 7. This has been great, buddy. I usually don't get to hang out, so I'm glad we got to, man.
Thank you very much for joining in, buddy.
100% my pleasure, sir. I'm glad it all worked. It was meant to be, I say.
It was.
Yes. All right, mates. Till next time, I'll try to catch you guys.
No problems at all, buddy.
All
Take
right.
care.
Enough
Thank you.
said. Oh no.
Uh, thank you very much to Freaky Louie for jumping on and keeping the stream going for a little bit longer. To anyone who watches the replay, thank you for watching. Have a good night.